So, on we go to part 3. And now I'll be presenting a category that he also labels as long-faced Mediterraneans. These are all the highlands of Western Asia. These are Caucasus and the surrounds, except for one who is further east. 2 of them are Turkics, and the others are two Caucasians and 1 from Syria. So the first fellow we have here is very interesting in that he's a dolichocephalic Armenian. Now, most Armenians are rather short-headed. Obviously, dolichocephaly, as you know, means long-headed, so longer relative to width. And this is said to be a Proto-Mediterranean strain, so it's a Proto-Caucasian Mediterranean, ancient Mediterranean of Caucasia, that through brachycephalization by alpine and torrid, which we'll come on to another time, elements, forms the majority of the population of Armenia. But for him to be dolichocephalic is very rare and makes him a very good example of a dolichocephalic Caucasian. Then we move on to this fellow. He's another Caucasian. This is a Circassian. And he says we can't tell if he's been partially brachycephalized due to his hat, but you can see he's a very good example of the type. He's relatively long-headed, and he's got that long face and that prominent nasal apparatus that's typical. So moving on to the Turks. Here we've got a guy who approaches what is often called Eastern Med. I'm not quite sure of his high vault, but again, he's a Caucasian Mediterranean of this longer faced type, and you can see he's very dolichocephalic. He's moderately tall in stature, and he's got great head length, which again you can see the great head length there. Moving on to another Turk, but this Turk, that fellow was from Kaput in eastern Turkey, so he's very near to this Caucasus region we're talking about. Whereas this guy here, this is a painting of a Turkoman, and he uses it because he says it's a very good illustration of the extremely long-faced nature of the Turkomans who inhabit Turkestan and part of the northern parts of Iran and Afghanistan. Last example in this video is a partially brachycephalized Syrian from Kfar Akal. You can see that he's part of this originally dolichocephalic and long-faced strain, and he's retained the long-faced structure, but you can see he's brachycephalized probably to a mesocephalic position by the dominant brachycephal elements in the Syrian population.